Knows Best.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to Brenna Knows Best. I'm your host, Brenna Berg. Hi, how are you guys? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Good morning. I was thinking to myself that if you've been watching my TikTok vlogs, I started with the morning vlogs, which I love doing. And then on like Monday or Tuesday night this week, I did an evening vlog. And something about me is I think I have an addictive personality. Like, I don't know. I guess that's the only way to describe it. And therefore, like once I did one night in the life, evening vlog, whatever you want to call it, I'm like, I can't just like stop. And therefore I fear I'm going to keep doing it. But then I was thinking about you here listening to the podcast. I'm like, these people are going to know, not these people, hello, you're my friends, but like, you're going to know every single thing about my life, like the morning vlog, the night vlog. And the reason I also was thinking about this is because last night I was trying to figure out what the frick happened this past week to talk about, because like really not that much happened. And I always like go into my Instagram stories, I go into my texts, I go into my photos to like refresh my brain on what happened. And now I have the morning and the night vlogs. And I'm like, well, bitch, you're getting your ideas off of the morning and the night vlogs. They've already seen that. They don't like, there's nothing that I'm going to be talking about. It honestly kind of made me insecure. I'm like, oh my God, is the podcast like worthless now? Because they're seeing the morning and the night. Like they're seeing my whole entire life is basically what I wanted to say. Also, I might have told this story, but I drove my sweet husband to work this morning and I was listening to Shania Twain on the way back, as I do. And if you're not a Shania Twain fan, that's totally fine. It's just what I was raised on in North Dakota. Primarily people listen to country naturally. And obviously I was born in 1997. And that means that I was like in Shania Twain's prime. I loved her. Her and Britney Spears were like my icons. I'm not sure if I told this story, but 2 years ago, I believe it was the summer, I think, that I met my husband, and we had a birthday party to go to. And this birthday party was for a guy he went to law school with, who he keeps in touch with now. He's a great guy. His girlfriend at the time put on this, hello, I know that you can't see because you're listening to my podcast. I have a dog here. Her name is May. She's a French bulldog. She's 8 years old. And she should be laying in her bed, but instead she is sitting here trying to get on my couch. No, you're not going to bark. Go lay down. Like literally your bed is right there. Go lay down. Now. I love you so much. It's literally right there. Anywho, I'm going to ignore her, but if you hear a little growl in the background, that's our sweet May. But anywho, we had this birthday party and it was at this place called like the game show place or the game show night. And basically we all showed up. It was like a group of us, a big group. They split us up into two teams and we played game shows. I believe we did, well, for sure we did Wheel of Fortune. We did The Price is Right. We did like old school game shows. I'm not sure also if you guys watched those. We did for whatever reason, and more specifically, my dad's mother, who I don't speak about often, my Grandma Panko, love you, Grandma Panko. When we were with her, which I'm not sure how frequent that was, not that often, but she loved the Game Show Network. I specifically remember being in her apartment and watching The Price is Right, watching, what else was there? The one where like they have the doors and they would open up. Is that also The Price is Right? I feel like that's something else. I don't know, but me and my brother loved game shows. And then once we got older, I'm not sure if it was the Game Show Network, but did you ever watch like The Weakest Link, Brenna? Link? Or You Want to Be a Millionaire, or whatever that one's called, or Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, or what's the one? It's called like Chain Link. That was my shit. Jeopardy. Like once we were old enough and kind of smart enough not to actually play, Chain Link was this one. I'm sorry, we're really on a side tangent, where they would have these blanks and they would be on top of one another. So I think there was like something like 10, okay? And behind the blank was a word. And basically it would be like the top and the bottom were shown. So they'd have the people come up. Oh my God, I love this shit so much. I love game shows. They would have partners or pairs, or it'd be two people against one another. They would show the top and the bottom word. So let's say the top word was prom. Okay, prom. And the bottom one would be, I don't know, I'll figure that out later. But they would show you the top and the bottom, and then in between there's like 8 blanks. So it would be like prom queen. Right? So the next word was queen, and then or king. And then the next one would go with that. So it'd be like King Charles. And I'm not sure if there could be names, but then Charles would come up. And I think if you didn't get it right, they'd continue to show like the next letter. So it'd be like prom, and then it would have like a K. And then if you didn't guess king, it would then show the I, blah, 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 blah. But they would all go in order. And then like you could also start from the bottom. So let's say that the bottom word was band. Okay, I don't know. You could guess on top of that, say like punk band. And again, they would show it and then it would all come together. So it would be like prom king, King Charles, Charles the third blind mice. I'm not saying that correctly. There were always only one word, but you get the idea. I loved that shit. And I really didn't need to explain that all to you, but I'm a big game show person. And therefore, this game night was like game show themed. It's like a place. It's kind of like a, what's that called? The room where you go in and you get clues and you try and get out of the room. Escape room. Escape room. It's like not similar vibes, but like a fun place that you go to. And they like, as soon as we walked into the door, it was in Louisville, I think, which is a suburb in Dallas. Like the host, right? There's like a man there who like plays the host, and they like kind of get into theme, or like really get into theme, and they sell drinks, of course. I don't think food, but like it's for adults. I'm not sure why I'm acting like you guys are stupid. You get the idea. Wow. This was probably one of, not that any of these other people remember, but like top moments to myself. We were playing Wheel of Fortune, and Wheel of Fortune is the game where you spin the thing and then you get to guess a letter, and there's something on the board, and you know it gets spelled out, right? And you have to guess what it is, but you can say like E, Vanna White, right? We all know Wheel of Fortune, I hope. If you don't know these game shows that I'm talking about, we had wildly different childhoods. I eat this shit up, obviously, clearly. Anywho. This Wheel of Fortune, like typically they didn't have the wheel that you spin. Like it's a dinky little place. Like they're trying to do it the best they can, but like not exactly. Well, when it was your turn, so we were split up into groups and they would just go one by one. And then I think you either drew something or you got to pick, like if you wanted to choose a letter, if you wanted a hint or something. Well, I'm the second person up, and we've been playing for a little while now, and it's a brand new Wheel of Fortune, and there's a lot of fucking words. Okay, there are a lot of blanks, and there's not a single thing on the board. The first person goes, and the hint is Canada. Right? That's the hint. Oh, and I think it was like artist and song. You know, there's always like a theme, right? Or like there's like, it's like place, or they give you like a general idea, obviously, of what the words are. Ours was like artist and song or something like that. So like, hello, okay, think of artists, think of songs. The hint was Canada. And naturally, of course, the first person I think of is Shania Twain. Duh, the Canada Queen. I know that like most people were thinking Justin Bieber or Drake. Nope, Shania, obviously. Immediately, you guys, I look at that board. It's Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Shania Twain. Obviously, you don't have to sing it, but like that's how many blanks there were. It was Man. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, done. I'm the next one. There's not a single thing on the board, not one letter. The only hint we have is Canada. And the guy comes to me, right? And everybody's like, somebody guessed, I think a Justin Bieber song or something. I don't know. But of course, like I already counted out the things. I know that I'm right. I said, man, I feel like a woman, Shania Twain. Got it. That was like a peak moment for me. Everybody was like, wait, what the fuck? And like, these people must not really listen to country. Like they all knew who Shania Twain was, but like everybody was like, I had no idea. I'm like, it was like the first thing that came to me. Anywho, before we get into the week, we already spent 10 minutes talking about game shows. I'm going to go through, I have 3 questions. There are, Brenna, where were you going with that? They're all pretty short, but I feel like when I get to the end of the episode, I'm like short-winded, and I also don't have that much to talk about because really my husband worked all week, and we did have Natalie and Ryan over, which we'll talk about, but like honestly, wait, where's my notes app? Hello. Oh, podcast. I feel like I'm not going to have like that much, but you all know me. We could sit here and yap forever, but let me go through these and then we'll get on to the week. My ex keeps texting me. He misses me, but literally hasn't tried to win me back. I broke up with him a year ago now. The reason why, he wouldn't change. They're never going to change, sister. We don't want him to win us back. Okay, let me make that crystal clear. Whenever I communicated my feelings, it didn't matter. He kept hurting me over and over. Behavior is a language. John Deloney says that all the time. Behavior is a language. This goes for all relationships, all aspects of people's lives. Okay, when people show you with their behavior that they're not doing the thing when you ask them, like they are telling you they don't really care about you. Right? Or maybe it's like not that deep. They just like cannot change, but it's like you're not getting what you need. Goodbye. Anywho, okay, sorry. Let me keep going. Then the worst thing happened. After I broke up with him, his email was logged into my laptop. So I decided to look because my gut told me to. I want to make something crystal clear on this podcast. I'm never going to encourage people to look through the phone, look through the email, whatever it is, but I would be lying straight to your face if I wouldn't do the same thing. If I broke up with my boyfriend and had a weird gut feeling and his email was locked, I'm snooping. And I think it's just like naturally I'm a snoopy person, right? Even when I don't have like reason to believe. And I'm, again, hello, crystal clear. I'm not encouraging this. This isn't healthy. It's not good. And I don't do this anymore. Well, me and Carter have like the most trusting relationship. It's never been a thought in my brain, right? But like back in the day, for sure, if there was even like something and the opportunity presented itself to me, right, I'm going to do it. I just want to be like real because I feel like some girls, I remember I went on a podcast and I said that to the girl, the host, Jillian, and I was like, yeah, I've gone through a phone. And she's like, oh my gosh, really? I've never. And I'm like, girl, don't act like that. Like, it's not that crazy. We all would do it, I think. Anywho, okay, sorry. I found a Google Doc with pictures of girls, nude pictures of random girls. Oh. But it gets worse. There was also pictures of his friend's girlfriends that he took without them knowing of their butts in leggings and some photos his friends probably sent him. Oh my God. Oh. There are levels to men being disgusting, right? Like men who, there's like good men, right? There's my husbands of the world. There are men who then follow Instagram models. I'm missing like steps in between, but it's like, oh, right? But like not that bad. I mean, like I hate it and I don't condone that behavior. I don't suggest you date a guy who follows Instagram models, but compared to him having a Google Doc of nude photos of girls, of photos of his friends' girlfriends that they don't even know, friends, or photos that his friends sent them, probably nudes. Oh my God. Like we're getting into scary territory. I threw up. Then I let the girl know and showed her the pictures he took. He took accountability, knows he fucked up. A year later, he still texts me. And why do I respond? Why do you respond? That is a sick man. I hope something will change, that he will step up, I guess, and be a real man, that he was just too immature. I don't know what to do anymore. I've been growing, focusing on the gym, running, and going back to school. Another part to my story is that I met him through my cousin. Ever since I broke up with him, my cousin and his wife, who we used to double date with and were close with, just completely weren't there for me and basically picked his side. I don't give a shit. This man sucks. This is not the man for you. He's never going to change. And also, like, do you want to be with a man who did that? Who, number one, had nude photos of girls, period. Right? But then who took photos of girls without their consent? Like, that's disgusting. That's literally disgusting. And to have this in a folder, no. Like, I'm not even going to entertain this anymore. Ew. If you date that man, if you even so much as speak to him, I have lost a lot of respect for you. That's really fucking harsh, but like, I'm being for real, because why would you? And screw your cousins, because like, whatever, that's their friend, but like, distance yourself from them then, right? Like, ew, 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 ew. Okay, next. I'm going to try and get this quickly. Sorry. Hi, Brenna. First of all, this is not going to be a dilemma. It's just a story from my terrific dating life, which is too absurd not to share. Second of all, I love you, girl. Obs, I don't expect you to read this in an episode. I mean, only if you enjoy it. Okay, well, I'm just like gonna read it. Okay, let's start. This happened several years ago. I was 15 or 16 years old. I'm now 23. And I had an interest for a guy from my school. We'll call him Toby. I dated a Toby in high school. This better not be the same Toby. I need to tell you about that man, actually, because wow, that was a moment. Anywho, but he had a girlfriend, we'll call her Sarah, and they had been together for like 3 years. He was a year older than me, so at that age, that's a long relationship. Totally. I mean, that's like all of high school. Turns out he was interested too. So we started dating, and he told me he was no longer in a relationship with Sarah. Our relationship was really weird, and he kept it pretty secret. Wait, I didn't read that correctly. So we started dating, and he told me, oh, he was no longer, bad. So, our relationship was really weird, and he kept it pretty secret, but there was chemistry and passion, and I was young, in love, and pretty stupid. So no judgment, please. There's never any judgment here. We stayed together for 8 months until I found out he had, in fact, broken up with Sarah, but they were starting to talk again. I got jealous, and he was losing interest in me, so we eventually broke up. Toby and Sarah got back together shortly after. Approximately 3 months go by, and I start dating another guy. We'll call him David. Different school, different friend group. I really liked him. The thing was getting serious until one day he told me he needed to talk to me. Everything was going well, so I expected a "do you want to be my girlfriend" kind of talk. Well, I was wrong. He told me he liked me, but was still thinking about a girl. I asked for more details, and he told me she was in a long-term relationship and cheated on her boyfriend with him, but then changed her mind and went back to his boyfriend or her boyfriend and suffered a lot from it because he apparently was really in love with her. I told him that basically the same thing happened to me, so I shared my story, and then we came to names. The girl in question was, in fact, Sarah. No. It might not seem so shocking, but I swear it was so random. Like, they were totally different friend groups, ages, schools, no common friends. So long story short, I got dumped twice from 2 different guys for the same fucking girl. Just imagine. No, that would be enough for me to kill Sarah. And I know that's not right, and I know that's not the proper thing to say, but like, when you're young and you're insecure in like a jealous, I don't know what that is or why that is. I think it's just because we don't know ourselves. We're like very immature. Like I've hated girls for way less. Like it's even the most random things. And I've like despised girls that when I was obviously in high school, that, oh my gosh. Just imagine how I felt. I laugh about it now, but at the time I started obsessively comparing me to Sarah, thinking I was inferior to her in some way. Anyway, I'm so glad I'm no longer in teenage drama. That is actually hysterical and so relatable. Like this is like, oh, should I be sharing this? I was no longer a Virgin Mary. And the man who did that was in a relationship, not at the time, but he got into one shortly after. So obviously I was like obsessed with him, but like he didn't give a shit. He was 2 years older than me. And of course, like I hated his girlfriend, which like she didn't do anything. And like I didn't know her and I never came across her. And thankfully, social media wasn't super big at the time. Like I don't think she had socials. If she did, I would have been a literal insane person. But I just remember in school seeing them every once in a while, and he would still like flirt and try and like chat. I remember we talked on MySpace, which was like legitimate. But like I of course hated her, which she had nothing to do with anything. But like that's just how your brain works. So to like date a guy and then he like leaves you for Sarah, and then the next guy you talk to says he was in love with Sarah, you're like, what the fuck does Sarah have that I don't? Oh my gosh, that's literally insane. I wonder how big your town is, because this to me is not that shocking, I feel, because in Bismarck, there were 2 big high schools. And even though like there were friend groups and things, like this wouldn't, I feel like, be that uncommon, because naturally I feel like people have the same type. Even though they're different friend groups, I feel that like these things just kind of happen. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, next, and this is the last one, and then we'll get into the week. Should I purchase a house by myself? Oh my gosh, how like incredible that you're in that position. I am currently 24 years old, single, and I still live at home with my parents. I have a really amazing relationship with my parents, and they charge me next to nothing for rent, so I have the ability to save up for a house. Where we live is also only 10 minutes from my work, so it just makes the most financial sense in my head right now. I'm not sure when I spoke about this. I think maybe on a Reddit podcast episode. If you live with your parents today, like, there is not a single ounce of judgment from me. Like, shit is so expensive. If you can save the money and you have a healthy relationship and your parents are like not annoying, I like 100% respect that. With the low rent, I've been able to save up a lot of money and am getting close to being able to purchase a house. I always thought that in this point of my life, I'd have a boyfriend and someone I could plan a life with, move in with, etc. That has yet to happen. Bad date after bad date, I've given up on online dating and am open to meeting people the old-fashioned way, but that's not as easy as it used to be, as most single people know. Oh, sorry, I'm illiterate. So my dilemma is, should I just go for purchasing a house by myself and not plan my life around potentially meeting someone eventually? Should I stay at home and keep saving? Should I move out and rent somewhere else? I don't think living at home has really impacted my dating life, aside from the fact that with my parents, I live quite rurally, and I have wondered if moving to a larger city about 40 minutes away from my parents in small town where my job is would allow me to go out more and be more social and potentially meet people. I really want to purchase a house, but I am worried that may isolate me even further. And then when I do meet someone, which is hopefully soon, I don't even know how that works, if we both own or if he moves in with me. I am overthinking hypothetical situations, but I'm curious of your opinion on this. Love the podcast so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I love this question literally so much. Props to you. That's amazing. Okay. There's a lot of different dynamics. Number one, I don't think you should plan your life around the potential of a man, period. I think this is an isolated thing that you think about. As far as owning a home, I'm going to talk about these in chunks because I think there's a lot of different things here. You live in a rural place, in a rural town, sorry. but you're 40 minutes away from a big city as far as it comes to owning a home. Because here's the thing. Obviously, you live in a small town. I'm guessing like the homes are maybe like $200, $300, $400,000, which is like amazing, not nothing, but like that's just the reality. And this is actually a really good conversation for us to have because I was speaking to my brother last weekend when I saw him, or 2 weekends ago now, and they bought a house in I think like 2017. I think it was like $100 and something thousand, which is insane to think about. It's in Minneapolis. It's in a big city, but it is in like not the best neighborhood, and it's very small and it's old. Okay. Not bashing, like they still own a home, but like just giving you an idea of like, yes, like that's incredible. They bought a house for so cheap, and their mortgage payment, I'm not going to share my brother's business online, but like a third of what me and my husband paid to rent this house, literally a third, which is, wait, yeah, about, a fourth, a literal fourth of what we pay. Okay, to give you an idea, which now in 2025 is insane. Okay, however, my brother told me that they used a first-time home buyer's loan, government, whatever, when they bought the house. And he's like, thankfully it worked out and nothing went wrong. But he's like, should I have bought in that house at that time? No. He's like, we didn't have any fucking money. If like something would have happened, there is a chance we wouldn't have been able to pay that money. He had just gotten out of college. The student loans were insane. I don't think his wife had finished occupational therapy school at that time and was working at Kohl's. But all of this to say, buying a house, you need to think of like, okay, the down payment and then what the mortgage is going to be, but then like repairs. Like, I don't want you to be in the position that my brother was in, where like he had just enough money to buy the house, but then like is, struggling for a while there, because I don't think that's financially smart if you can just stay at home with your parents. Like, if you can buy a house, make sure you can buy the house, but you still have 3 to 6 months of savings, of expenses for said house, or like an emergency or whatever. Like, make sure that all of that, and you're like, or you could be like, bitch, I've already thought of that. I'm just saying, because it's one thing to be able to buy a house, right? Like to have the down payment, but that's like a very small portion of it, which I'm sure your parents have helped you. And I'm sure you're smart enough, like, hello, but I just want to make that clear, So number one, that's that. I think if that's your dream, if that's your goal, if you want to buy a house, then do that. And you can, and you're not like in a financially bad position, and your job will then cover, and you have enough money, and so on and so forth. I think that's incredible. And though I would say to think about, of course you can sell said house, hopefully whenever you please, but like nobody buys a house, I don't think, intending to sell it quickly. Therefore, I would think about, you are 24 years old. Do you want to have a home in the middle of nowhere? You guys, my brain. Nowhere, which like you can want that. I'm like literally just like trying to mention all of the things that I would want you to think about. What if, next year, like it's not as easy to just like sell the house, right? So if moving to a city is something that is also brewing in your head, I would think very long and hard about that, because once you buy the house, which is amazing, and if you like that life and you like that city and you have no problems with like venturing into the city 40 minutes, totally buy the house. But like if you're unsure, which of course our lives can change on a dime, who's to say what you want right now is what you want in a year? There's no way to know. So like you're just going to make the best educated guess that you can. But like I want you to think about all of these things. Is there a possibility like in 6 months, let's say you buy the house and like now you're sick of the town, you want a different job, the opportunities are in the city, which you could still commute. Like, again, I don't know exactly the places you are and how far you are and what that looks like, but something to think about, because you are young, and I would just want to think about that and the longevity and like that being pretty final. And then as far as it goes for a man, like if that's something you're thinking about, which I understand, and that's like a normal thing because again, living in a rural place, like I know the mindset, and of course we all, like I think when we're younger, we're like, oh, we're gonna be married by 24. I think that like regardless, in a rural place, because for me in Dallas, and I'm just going to give you guys, like, I feel this is relatable to anybody. My dream is to not own a home. Not to not own a home, but it's not my dream to own a home. And I know that's been like painted to us for a really long time, but currently in this market in Dallas, Texas, and mainly in big cities, I think it doesn't make as much sense to own. And of course, you're building equity. Like I know. But if I were you, but I'm a city pup, I would move into the city. I would go rent. I guess though, you have the job out there. It just kind of makes sense, or it depends on what kind of lifestyle you want, really. And whatever happens with a man happens with a man. Like that'll be such a wonderful thing. Like once you do and you own a home, you can either sell it if he owns a home, or you guys can move in there. You have so many options really, because you can't always sell the house, right? Or you can keep it and have like an investment property or whatever. I think there's like not one singular downside to owning a home and then meeting a man. Like that doesn't, I don't think that matters at all. There will obviously be an adjustment, but it's also like if you move to the city and rented an apartment and then meet a man tomorrow and want to move in, like you're renting the apartment, you still got to figure out all of those logistics anyways. It's a little bit different because again, the house is more final. But let me make sure I'm covering everything that you asked. I really want to purchase a house, but I'm worried it'll isolate me, which does make sense. I mean, you're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, do whatever makes sense for you financially in like a rural area. I know that would probably be the best thing. You know, you are throwing your money away on rent, but like to me, it's also not an investment actually, obviously, but like to be in the city and the opportunities and meeting of the people. But again, I like the city. So like I'm naturally gonna have that opinion if I were you, but that's the thing. We're two different human beings. I don't know. Weigh the pros and cons, talk to your parents. You can still live with them. You can still save up the money, invest some money. But I would, if I were you, at some point, move out from your parents, even though you say it doesn't hinder you. And I'm sure it doesn't. And it sounds like you're having a wonderful time, obviously. But I think there is something about living on your own. And maybe you went to college and already did that. But like, whether it's renting or owning a home, I think it's just good for our maturity. I think we grow, we learn a lot. You have full autonomy to do whatever you want with the place, to come and go, to like, I don't know. I think living on your own is something you should do definitely before like meeting a man and like moving in with a man. Because if you go straight from like living with your parents to then living with a boyfriend or a husband, I don't know. That just kind of freaks me out. I feel like it's the olden days. If you are able to, of course, if you are not able to financially, if somebody's listening, I'm not speaking directly to the girl that wrote in. Like, I get that might happen because life is expensive, but I'm speaking to this girl directly. Like, you are financially able. And also, like, I always think about this. You could move out for a year. Like, if you go rent in the city, okay, you do that. You could always move back in with your parents. Of course, talk to them and make sure, but like that option is always there. You have this wonderful relationship. So those are just like all of my thoughts. Okay, you guys, I am so sorry. Let's get into the week. Number one, I want to talk about a trend that's happening on TikTok that these are my favorite types of trends. I'm not sure if you guys have seen where there will be like a trio of people. First, it was, I think, a group of girls maybe that were sitting down and they were singing a song by Sam Smith, and like the caption is like, we wanted to see if we had any hidden talents before we send off our resumes, right? So it's like this trend where people are sitting there and they're doing like karaoke to Sam Smith. And I saw the first one and I loved it. Like I love these like wholesome, just like funny trends. But then the next one I saw were these like three bros, and they were sitting there, and they very clearly work like some sort of business job, and they're like just seeing if we need to clock back in after lunch, with like, of course, the idea is that like they have this hidden talent of being able to sing, but they're all like horrible. But then the best part, so like that's hysterical because you're seeing like three grown men like try and sing Sam Smith. And then the comments are hysterical. They'll be like, yep, boys, we need you to actually clock back in early. Or like there've been brands, commenting, and they're like, nice try. If you're looking for a job, we're hiring. Or like, it's killing me. I've been dying. I've actually been showing my husband, and he's like, that's so funny. This past week, I'm going to sum it up. My husband worked. And you're like, bitch, you have a life outside of your husband, which is true. However, I really don't. It's not true. That is actually a lie. I don't. But I made plans with my best friend Natalie and Ryan to come over this weekend. Well, actually, we originally thought we were going to go to dinner, but Natalie went to Ohio and Ryan went to Alabama, which means they're big college football people. Not Natalie at all. Ryan is a big college football person, and so is my husband, obviously. And as the day went on and my sweet husband was working all day, I texted Natalie and I'm like, would you guys actually want to come over here? We can go grab our favorite brisket sandwiches and just watch football and hang and be in the comfort of our own home, because they're like us in that way where they love that too. And she was like, that's perfect. So my sweet friends come on over, our sweet friends. Carter finishes up working. We run over and grab sandwiches, and then we come back home and eat and sit on the couch and have college football on and chit chat. And then they left at like 10 p.m. and it was so nice and just like the best. And they left and I'm just like, oh, I just feel good. And that is the thing. I'm sure I've talked about this 100 times. I've had friendships in the past, and like, when you feel like they just suck the life out of you. And sometimes this happens where you can have a friend that like it's really good for a moment and then it turns, and it doesn't have to be something specific, but all of a sudden it's just like not really serving you and you're not excited to see them. And maybe it's because they're like a going out friend or like whatever, and it just like no longer becomes fun. The friends you need in your life are the ones, no matter what you're doing, they just like fill your cup. Like Natalie just fills my cup every time I see her. I feel so much better after. And they both, like, I love them, and they're getting married soon. They got engaged the same exact week that we did. And not that we inspired them in any way, but of course, from the get-go, me and Natalie have been talking, and they wanted a wedding, kind of. I think Ryan more than her, but like they have family and they're close to, and they have a lot of friends and college friends, and I get it. But of course, I was very adamant from the beginning that we weren't going to do that. And then they started touring venues, and like the cheapest quote they were getting was like $30,000. And who wants to spend $30,000 on just the venue alone? And so it was kind of coming to a place where they're like, actually, we don't want to do this. Not that they didn't want to, but they're like, we're not paying this money. So then they've been back and forth. And like our engagements both were at like Thanksgiving last year. So almost a year. Not that you need to like get married quickly, but they're also at the same place. Like Natalie is, I think, going to turn 30 this year. And it's like, okay, so we're not going to have this wedding. So like, what the fuck are we waiting for? They're like, who do we want there? What do we want to do? So they're going to, I guess I shouldn't maybe spread all of their information, but basically they're going to get married soon. And they asked cutie Carter to officiate. They asked him on Saturday night, and he's going to. So therefore, we have that coming up, and I'm so excited. And it's going to be really small, and it's going to be at one of their family houses, and it's going to be amazing. And I'm so freaking excited. Next, what else is happening? Oh my gosh. My best friend from college, who I worked with, had a baby. She birthed her baby exactly a week ago. And I was talking to her, and I've been talking to her all of this pregnancy because she didn't tell anybody for a really long time, and she felt comfortable sharing with me because I'm so far across the country and I can't really affect her life. And she finally gave birth, and I needed to know everything. And this bitch was one of those people that was like, I'm going to do unmedicated. Like, I'm feeling really good about like not getting medication. And I said, well, that's fucking crazy and will never be me. But like, I support you. And that's so her. And she's a boss ass bitch. I texted her and I said, okay, I need to know everything. Well, she sent me a photo of the sweet baby on Monday, but her due date was like last Monday. And so I knew all week I was thinking about her, but I wasn't going to text her. I'm like, this bitch could have had her baby. Like, I'm not going to bother her. She knows to text me, like, whatever. Because I had texted her on Sunday when I was at the airport because I was in Minnesota and she's obviously from Minnesota. And I'm like, bitch, that baby's supposed to pop out in like 2 days. How are you doing? Has he come? Like, what's happening? Well, she texted me on Monday a photo and she said she had him on Thursday and so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, tell me about like the going into labor. Like, I needed to know everything. She tells me, and like, oh, it's so interesting how every birth is so different. But she wakes up in the middle of the night essentially. And like when you start having contractions, you have to like time it, like how long they're lasting, how quickly back to back, because I think it depends on like once you get to a certain amount, I'm sure you learn this once you're pregnant, but like you should go into the hospital or like call the hospital. She said it was like, I don't know, in the morning, early morning, she called the hospital and they were like, okay, you can come in if you want, but like, let's wait, you know, if you feel comfortable waiting until the contractions get a certain amount of time, length amount of time, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, okay, well then I'll just stay home. Like they said, it's not ready, whatever. Like I'll wait until that time. Totally fine. Well, she said all of the sudden, she's like, this baby is coming out of me. Like she felt something shift, something change. And she's like, holy fuck, I need to get to the hospital. Her sweet, sweet partner drives her to the hospital. She said she couldn't even sit down. She's like, I didn't feel comfortable sitting because I felt like this baby was going to come out of me. So she was like on her knees. I'm like dead. I'm so dead. She gets to the hospital and they're like, yeah, this baby is coming now. They didn't have time. So even if she wanted to get an epidural, she couldn't even choose because like they said it's too late. This baby is coming. She pushed a handful of times and that baby came out unmedicated. Ow! No, I am going to go into the hospital when I get the slightest bit of a contraction and I'm going to say, hook me up to the epidural. Let me take a nap and tell me when we're doing this thing. No, that cannot be my life. That cannot be my life. She's like, yeah, of course, when the head comes out, that shit's insane. Oh my gosh. Insane. So here are my friends getting married, having children. That's terrifying. I guess I just got married, but like, you know what I mean? Those are the two biggest things that happened this week. Other than that, we watched Monster on Netflix. If you have never heard of Ed Gein, the serial killer, like I had never heard of Ed Gein, and you are thinking about watching, I'm going to call it a documentary, but it's not a documentary. It's a show. It's 8 episodes. It is like real, based on real events, but it's like this guy is acting as him. It's not people commenting on that time, on what happened. They're like reenacting this man's life. I don't know how or don't know why I have never heard of this man, because he is a man who like other serial killers and shows and things were based off of. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was slightly, not like completely, but like the idea I think started because of Ed Gein. The first ever like horror film, like sexy horror film in 1960, like the first ever gory sort of show was based on Ed Gein. I never knew any of this. But when I tell you guys, okay, first of all, trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. I'm not going to talk about anything, but like if you're thinking about watching it, it is the most like skin crawly thing I've ever watched. It is so freaky and like I can't even describe it. I love horror movies. It's not even like horror. It's just like straight up disturbing. So if you don't do good with that sort of thing, do not watch it. Just like literally do not watch it. If that doesn't bother you and these kinds of things interest you, you have to watch it. It was like, honestly, outside of being disturbing and like so insane, and like the actor did such a good job of like playing the character. Obviously, I don't know what this man is like, but like it just gives you the creepy crawlers. It is such a well done film. I do think they could have done without like the last 2 episodes, but like you have to watch it after you watch the first 6. I feel like they could have condensed it a little bit, but other than that, it was insane. And like the videography, is that how you say that? Videography was so well done. And the actors, oh my gosh, Addison Rae is in it. She's literally walking down the street and I look at my husband and I'm like, that's Addison Rae. And honestly, I didn't even know if he would know who Addison Rae was because he's never been on TikTok. And he did know of her and he's like, that's her. He's like, you're sure? And I'm like, 100% that's Addison. Like, of course I know that's Addison Rae. Like, yeah, I know what she looks like. And she did phenomenal. Everybody in it was amazing, and it was just so like, oh my God, like I can't even believe the things. Like as I was watching it, I was like, I cannot believe we're watching this, and I can't believe that this happened, and I can't believe that this is a human being, or was. So it was in like 1940s. Yes, he was born in 1906, so there's like a tie-in of like World War II. He's schizophrenic. And if you know anything about schizophrenia, like there's something that happens that like I think starts the schizophrenia. You know what's actually so sad? One of my husband's very best friends, whom I love and adore, his mom is schizophrenic. Like he was raised with a schizophrenic mom, and I just like can't even imagine. So I think she was like in and out of mental institutions. But oh my gosh, like the reason I'm saying this is because they obviously make that clear in the show, and you feel bad. Like this man is doing like horrible, unthinkable things, but he's like schizophrenic, and like he doesn't even, I think, really realize what he's doing. Like obviously what he's doing was horrible and not okay, but he then gets put in, so he doesn't, I don't want to spoil it, but he like has a therapist and things after the fact, and you just feel bad. And like if you have any empathy at all, it's which I don't feel bad for serial killers, but it's like clearly they have mental illnesses. Right? Not that it excuses the behavior. I don't want to like give any sort of like remorse to them, because like what they do is horrible, horrible, horrible. But it's like human beings are so like multifaceted, and it's just like, holy frick. It really just makes you think. And they tie in the fact of like the other things being based off of it. It just like, I feel I learned so much watching it as well. I mean, nothing good, but it was insane. Like, I feel it was just like a really well done film. Moving right along to something else that kind of moved me this week. Last night, I finally finished The Things We Cannot Say by Kelly Rimmer, which is a World War II historical fiction based in Poland. Unfortunately, after you read Kristen Hanna, this book just didn't, I was crying at the end of it, no doubt in my mind, but it just like, Kristen Hanna does her books so well. Like there are books, and if you're a reader, I think you'll understand this. I don't know if it's like the author, I don't know if it's like the state of mind I'm in, but some books just really grab me. Like I really feel like I'm in them. I feel attached. I feel like I'm there. Kristen Hanna does that every single time. I would say Fourth Wing and Iron Flame, that whole series, like I feel like I'm there. But then there's been other books where I'm just not as attached. And this was one where I wasn't as attached. I still cried. It was still moving. I still learned a lot about Poland and World War II. And it was interesting. And like the whole book, I loved it. Like I kept picking it up. I was excited to pick it up, but I was still detached in a way. And like I didn't love the characters as much. Whereas some books I really do. And I've mentioned this before where I feel like sometimes I don't know what it is. That's how I kind of felt about ACOTAR. Like I was kind of in it, but not as much. I was like in the middle ground. Like I was kind of there, but I also was like kind of detached. I don't know. Kristen Hanna just does such a good job, but I would recommend The Things We Cannot Say. It was a good book. I learned a lot. I obviously cried at the end of it. It was sad, but like also happy. Loved that. What else happened this week? Oh, I lifted weights for the first time on Monday. Actually, was it Monday or was it Tuesday? I'm not sure. One of the days, or was it last week? No. It was this week. I'm still sore and it's day 3. I'm still sore and I literally didn't even lift like heavy weights. I used the barbell and like 10-pound dumbbell weights. I digress. I'm going to try and do another workout today. I'm excited to get back into lifting. And I feel like I can speak about this here. And I saw a girl make a series on TikTok, which I don't want to like copy it or anything, but it was basically just like a voiceover. But she was talking about how her and her husband probably in the next year will get pregnant. And I don't think that me and my sweet husband would try in the next year, but you know, a year from now, potentially. And I just want to make sure I'm in the best shape. And basically what the series was on TikTok that I'm telling you about is this girl was talking about prepping for pregnancy, like going to the doctor's appointments and like doing prenatal like things. Like she's going to the doctor to like get blood work and ask them like, what can I be doing? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because lifting weights and bone density is like really important in pregnancy and just for women in general and being healthy and strong. And therefore lifting weights is really one of the only things that can do that. Walking is good. Pilates is good. But like weightlifting, another thing I wanted to talk about, which I wanted to make a video on, there are so many trends on TikTok where like Pilates is the best for you, like Pilates gets you toned, or walking is the best, or this. And like, I love walking. I love Pilates though. I love a lot of different exercises, but there's not a best exercise. And of course, if you want to get to the nitty gritty, like lifting weights is phenomenal for you. Yes. Like building muscle is going to be good for your health, but like for the overall general public, people who are just like trying to work out to be healthy, who otherwise wouldn't work out, the best form of exercise is whatever you're going to stick to. And that is just that. Like if Pilates is that for you, Pilates is great for you. If it's walking, like for the past 4 years, all I've done is walk and I'm very healthy and like I get my exercise in because I enjoy it. If it's cycling, if it's yoga, if it's lifting weights, whatever that is for like the normal person who just like doesn't really love working out, but knows it's good for you and you want to work out, it's like whatever works best, whatever you enjoy and you're going to continue to do. And like, I believe that through and through. But when it comes to like, you know, general health, like lifting weights is going to be one of the better things. But like Pilates also, like that's body weight, you know, like some sort of isometric, whatever. Walking is obviously, I think if you tie that in with lifting weights, is like perfect. It's like all you need. But basically with potentially wanting to get pregnant at some point for me and my precious husband, I want to be in the best shape possible. And I'm not sure. I think I spoke about this podcast that I watched a really long time ago. There was a woman who was like an OBGYN. I think she was a doctor, but she specialized in women's health and reproductive studies. She was on the Diary of a CEO talking about how women were born with a certain amount of eggs and we just like lose them. And like, our health is kind of over like the longevity of our life. Of course, there's like renewal and like the cells renew of our body, but it's like a longer process. Whereas men keep recreating sperm. So like their sperm set, I think is like the last 30 to 90 days, something like that. It might be a month or every 3 months. So like for if Carter wants to be, which we're already in very good health. We eat well, we exercise regularly, we don't drink, which is a huge one. Like obviously drinking is so bad for you. We don't smoke. Like we're overall very healthy. Like if I were to get pregnant right now, I'd feel very good about it. But again, I just want to be in like my best health. But for men, like if we wanted to get pregnant in, let's say 3 months from now, if Carter like was a drinker and a smoker and like eat like shit and didn't work out, he could tomorrow like stop the drinking, stop the smoking, you know, if it were that simple, eat well and exercise. And then in 3 months from now, like essentially his sperm would be like brand new and like healthy and better. Of course, his body would have long-term effects of like drinking and smoking, but like as far as the reproductive, like I think, don't quote me on this, but like generally speaking, whereas the eggs we've had since birth. So like things can affect that. And I think we don't have like a really big sort of sway on that. Like some women just like naturally their bodies aren't as healthy, whether you have an autoimmune, like there are things you cannot control, obviously. But I think just overall, what you can control, you should, you know, the eating right, the not drinking, like I think that would just be best and just like the best for your body. Of course, you guys know I'm a health and fitness advocate, but something I want to start doing is lifting weights again. And I had a period of time where I lifted nonstop in college. Like it's all I did. I loved it. And I need to just find that again. And I need to also just make myself like I did the walking thing for a while, but it's like, Brenna, it's good for your muscles. It's good for your bone density. Just in the long term of my health, I think it'd be good for me to get into the habit of lifting weights minimum 2 days a week. That's fine. I would ideally want to do 3, but like even just 2 is good for me. Anything is good. Any exercise is better than none. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, let me move right along. I think that's honestly all I have, you guys. I did, while my sweet husband was working, watch the 3 little episodes on Victoria Beckham, which I didn't know much about them prior to both of their documentaries, but I love watching people and I love her and I love him. I loved those 3 little episodes. I watched the stupid ass Love is Blind yesterday, which was like so pointless and so fucking stupid, and we already lost 2 couples, and I don't know why they do those 2 episodes. Just give us the weddings. I think the only ones that'll last are Jordan and Megan. That's my prediction. And that's all I have. Calibria, those 2 shouldn't be together. None of them should really be together, but I think Jordan and Megan will stick it through. They really haven't had any big, the lifestyle thing to me personally would be a big difference, and I don't think it's a good idea potentially, but like if they've talked about all of the things and they're happy with that, then great. Other than that, things I'm hyper fixating on, honestly, I've been pretty chill. Really just my morning and my nighttime vlogs. I'm loving it, you guys. I'm loving like these types of videos, you guys like interacting. It just like is so much more personable than the content I typically used to do, my breakup stuff, which I love, and I love helping girls, and I love how much those impacted people, and I love like being funny and being abrasive. But there's something about you guys like seeing the life and like, you know, being a part of it. That's so fun. It like makes me excited to look at the comments. Things that I got this week, caraway pans. I haven't tried them yet. They sent them to me, which I know is like so luxurious and wonderful. But other than that, I don't think I honestly bought anything. And things I have coming up, LaDonna's birthday is on Monday. Love that. I have 3 events this coming week. Saturday, I'm going to a store opening. Tuesday, I have the Western, which you guys have seen me trying to figure out the outfit. Those will be coming. It's a Western themed, it's a shop bop event. It's like a little cocktail situation. And then on Wednesday night, I have like a little appointment. This new scent factory is opening. It's called Ola Factory in the West Village, where you can make your own perfume. I have those things coming up. Other than that, I'm going to try and spend time with my husband, but I'm going to wrap this up here. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you have the best weekend. Be safe. Thank you for being here as always, and I will see you guys on Monday. Okay. Bye guys.